Welcome to CinePro,
Don't! Come!
where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. The movie Longlegs begins with a girl named Leah in her room, looking out the window and seeing a strange car parked in front of the house. Leah leaves the house and heads towards the car, but before she reaches it, she hears someone calling her. Music. She sees a very tall and frightening-looking person. 20 years later, Leah has grown up and become a detective at the police station. The police chief holds a meeting about a serial killer who has committed multiple crimes and has not yet been caught. He asks the detectives to split into groups, each investigating a specific area in the city to control the situation and catch the killer soon. Afterward, Leah goes with her colleague to the area they will investigate. Her colleague starts searching the houses around them, while Leah stands in front of a particular house. When her colleague tells her he searched the first house and found no one, Leah tells him the criminal is alone, and surprisingly, she also tells him the number of the house where the criminal is hiding. Her colleague is surprised and asks how she knows the criminal's location. She says it's just a feeling and insists they need backup because the criminal is armed, but he doesn't believe her and refuses to call for help. He goes to the house alone, and before entering, he is shot in the head and dies. Leah then draws her gun, enters the house, and searches for the killer until she finds him sitting alone on the bed. He raises his hands and surrenders. Later, Leah is in her boss Carter's office, who is puzzled by how she knew the criminal was in the house she mentioned, even describing her as a spiritual medium. He changes the subject and informs her about a new case. An entire family was killed, and the father murdered his whole family before killing himself. Carter tells her they found a coded message at the crime scene, and the handwriting doesn't match anyone in the family. He shows her photos and explains that over the past 30 years, many family murders have occurred, with the father killing his family in each case. At every crime scene, there are similar coded messages signed by the man with long legs. Leah asks about the common factor among all the murdered families, and Carter tells her each family had a young daughter. Strangely, the latest family was killed on the 14th of the month, which is their daughter's birthday. He gives Leah the case file and asks her to work on it. Leah studies the file all day, reviewing crime scene photos and all the information until she gets tired and falls asleep in the office. Carter wakes her up and takes her to a bar to discuss work. Leah refuses to drink alcohol and starts explaining her findings to Carter, saying she suspects someone is helping the fathers kill their families, but there's no evidence of anyone entering the houses. Leah is convinced the person who wrote the messages is the one committing the crimes and says something is missing that she hasn't figured out yet. After they finish, Leah drives Carter home because he is drunk. When they arrive, Carter asks Leah to come inside to meet his wife and daughter. Leah agrees, enters the house, meets his wife Anna and daughter Ruby, and Ruby takes Leah to show her her room. They talk, and Ruby likes Leah, even inviting her to her birthday party. Leah returns home and calls her mother, who lives far away. We learn Leah hasn't seen her mother in a long time. While talking, Leah hears movement outside, quickly ends the call and looks out the window, seeing a mysterious figure standing in the forest. Leah grabs her weapon and goes out to search, but doesn't see the person inside the house. She runs back inside and searches, but the person has disappeared. Leah then finds an envelope on the table, labeled, "Do not open before the 14th of the month." Leah opens it anyway and finds a birthday greeting with coded text. Leah works to decode the message and succeeds. It turns out to be a message from the killer, threatening that if she tells the police her suspicions, he will kill her mother and destroy her life completely. Leah is shocked and can't comprehend what's happening. A little while later, Carter calls Leah, saying he needs her urgently. Leah responds and learns a murder happened a month ago in that house. Carter gives her a coded message, saying it's from the same killer. The father killed his family and then himself. Carter explains they found out about the crime late because the family was planning to travel. So when they disappeared, the neighbors thought they had left. Strangely, the family had a young daughter. Leah is shocked to learn the murder happened on the 14th, the girl's birthday. Leah decodes the message, which reads, "Good attempt but failed." Carter is surprised and asks how she cracked the code. Leah tells him she's been trying for a long time and finally understood it. Leah then calls her mother, telling her she won't be able to talk for a while because she's working on a big case that will take all her time. We learn Leah's birthday is next week, and her mother insists she must visit her that day. Leah then goes to the library to research old murder cases, trying to connect the dots and understand what's really happening. Leah succeeds in decoding the killer's messages after every crime. The next day, Leah visits Carter in his office and gives him the paper with the decoded killer's messages, which have a symbol shaped like a triangle. She tells him the killer uses a specific method, committing his crimes on the 14th of the month, the same month as the little girl's birthday in the family he targets. Leah says she discovered important information. A murder happened 20 years ago to a family living on a farm near the city. The only survivor was a girl named Carrie, who was at school when her father killed her mother and the priest visiting them. The murder also happened on the 14th, Carrie's birthday. Leah says Carrie suffered severe psychological trauma and has been in a mental institution ever since. Carter decides they should go to the family's house first before they visit Carrie in the asylum, and when they arrive at the farm, they don't find anyone there at all. So they enter the house and look for anything that might help them in the case, until Carter notices something under the floor of the house. He breaks the floor and finds a box with a paper on it, and there's a triangle drawn on it, the same symbol representing the killer. When Carter opens the box, he finds a doll, and suddenly the doll opens its eyes. They quickly take it to the coroner to examine it, and there the doctor says that whoever made the doll is a true artist because the doll's features are very close to human features. But strangely, the doctor tells them he found a ball inside the doll's head, and they learn the ball is empty. But when it's touched, they hear a strange sound. The doctor says that when they brought him the doll, he felt like it was calling to him. Carter is surprised by the doctor's words, but they ignore the topic and decide to go see Carrie in the psychiatric hospital. At the same time, in another part of the city, a scary-looking person appears in the market. He stands in front of the market owner's daughter and keeps making incomprehensible movements. The girl gets scared and calls her father, so the person leaves, gets in his car, and as he drives down the road, he keeps imitating the girl, screaming and calling for her father. The next day, Carter and Lee are sitting with the doctor treating Carrie and find out from him that Carrie's condition hasn't changed since she entered the asylum 20 years ago. But something very strange happened yesterday. Carrie changed completely after someone she knows visited her. Carter asks about this person and requests a description, but the doctor says he didn't see him because he wasn't there at the time of the visit. When Carter and Lee check the visitor records to find out the person's name, they're shocked to find the name is Lee. Afterwards, Lee enters and talks to Carrie, asking her what she remembers about the day of the crime. Carrie says her father was a kind and very religious man, and when she came back from school on the day of the incident, she discovered her father had killed all the farm animals. Then he killed the priest who visited him, killed her mother too, and then he died. Lee asks about the person who visited her the previous day, and Carrie says she's known him for a long time, and if he asks her to do anything, she'll do it no matter what. Lee asks her about the doll, which closely resembles her, but Carrie gets upset and says she doesn't remember it, curses, and leaves the place. When Lee returns with Carter to the police station, they talk about the killer. Carter is surprised that the killer committed the crime 20 years ago, and now, after 20 years, has appeared and targeted the only girl who survived in the family. Also, the doctor said the girl's condition improved after the visit, and Lee's name was in the visitor records. Lee tells him the doll they found is enchanted, and the magic is being used on Carrie because the doll closely resembles her. Lee believes the doll is the reason for the murders, but Carter doesn't believe her and changes the subject, asking if she's hiding something and how the killer knew her name and wrote it in the visitor log. Lee remains silent and doesn't answer, so Carter continues and tells her he's reviewing her file and asks about the last time she spoke with her mother. Lee hesitates and asks about her mother's connection to what's happening. Carter tells her mother called the police 20 years ago, specifically on January 13th, the day before Lee's 9th birthday, meaning her birthday is on the 14th. Lee is surprised by his words, but he continues, saying her mother reported someone attacked them at home, described the criminal as tall and thin with a weak face and pale complexion. Lee gets upset and says she doesn't remember anything he's saying. Carter suggests she go to her mother and ask her. Lee goes to her mother and asks if she remembers her 9th birthday, saying she wants to know what happened that day, why she called the police, and who broke into their house. Her mother tells her it didn't happen. No one broke into the house, and such things aren't suitable for a child to know. Lee says she's grown up now and isn't a child anymore. Her mother says she grew up because he allowed her to. Lee is surprised by her mother's reply and asks who he is. Her mother asks her to go to her room to find out. Lee quickly goes to her room and starts searching through her old things, and is shocked when she finds a picture of the criminal with long legs. We go back in time to the opening scene, and it's revealed that Lee photographed the long-legged man with her camera. Her mother comes and asks who he is and what he wants from her daughter, but he doesn't answer and keeps singing incomprehensible words and making strange movements. At that moment, Lee goes to Carter and shows him the picture of the long-legged man, telling him what happened and saying he's the killer they're looking for. Carter asks if she remembers anything about the man, but she says she doesn't remember anything at all. Afterwards, the criminal is arrested, and during his interrogation, he says his name is Cobble and keeps asking for her, saying he wants to see her. When asked how he knows her, he says she's his friend's friend. He then sings for Lee's birthday. Carter's assistant is very confused and tells Carter and Lee there's no evidence proving Cobble is the killer. Lee says Cobble has a partner in his crimes, and they find out the day is the 13th of the month, and her birthday is on the 14th. She says she won't wait for Cobble and his partner to commit another crime, so she goes to talk to him. As soon as Cobble sees her, he's happy, and Lee asks who works with him and helps him in his crimes. It turns out to be her mother. Then he keeps banging his head on the table in front of him until he dies. Afterwards, Carter argues with Lee and tells her that the case is closed because Cobble died, and learns that Carrie killed herself in the asylum even though it's the 13th, not the 14th. Lee concludes that Cobble ordered her to do so when he visited her, but Carter refuses to believe her and leaves. Carter's assistant sympathizes with Lee and feels she's right, so she goes with her to her mother's house to learn more about the matter. There, she tells Lee she'll wait in the car until Lee finishes talking to her mother. Lee gets out of the car and enters the house, but doesn't find her mother. Suddenly, Lee hears gunshots outside the house, runs to the window, and sees her mother killing her colleague. Lee leaves the house in shock and keeps searching for her mother until she finds her standing in front of a little girl and pointing a gun at her. When Lee gets closer, she discovers the girl is a doll that looks just like her. When she was little, her mother told her that she would be freed from what she was in, and she shot the doll in the head. At that moment, she felt pain and fell to the ground, remembering everything that happened in the past. We go back in time, specifically to the day when Cobble visited her. At that time, her mother entered the house and called the police, but Cobble followed her inside and wrote something, and he was about to kill her. He told her that he came to give her a birthday present, and we learn that he makes beautiful dolls that look like girls. Here, we find out that Cobble puts magic on the dolls through the balls in their heads. We see her mother going to families during the month of their daughter's birthday, telling them they have been chosen and won a doll as a gift. When the girl sees the doll, she is happy with it, but the magic inside the doll takes over the father and makes him kill his whole family and then himself. In the present, she, Leah, wakes up and finds herself sleeping in her room at her mother's house. She quickly goes to tell him what happened. There, she finds out that it is her daughter Ruby's birthday, which is on the 14th of the month. The girl enters and finds Ruby sitting next to the doll, and her mother is at home. She tells Carter that the woman sitting there is her mother and that she is Cobble's partner, who kills families. But Carter is under the influence of the magic and yells at her, telling her to be quiet. Then he takes his wife to the kitchen to cut the cake. At that moment, Leah asks her mother why she is doing this. Her mother explains that if she doesn't, they will live in hell, and she does it to protect her and keep her safe. Suddenly, Carter comes out holding a knife, and it becomes clear that he killed his wife in the kitchen. Leah becomes enraged and keeps shooting him until he dies. Her mother gets angry at what she did, pulls out a knife, and tries to kill her. But Leah shoots her in the head and she dies. Then Leah takes Ruby away from the doll, points her gun at the doll to blow its head off and free Ruby from its control, but she realizes her gun is out of bullets. Leah stands in front of the doll, looking at it defiantly. At this time, in the interrogation room, it turns out that Cobble is still alive and keeps laughing. The movie ends. If you liked the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next summary. Goodbye.